Election 98, a 10 late night news special edition with Sandra Sully.
Good evening. That is, of course, the scene from the National Tally Room in Canberra, a count which is showing the Howard government set to be returned for another term. The coalition has, however, lost ground around 20 seats down on 1996. One Nation isn't the runaway force many had predicted, and Cheryl Kernot may have in fact flopped in her Queensland seat of Dixon. Now let's take a look at the state of the parties around the nation. And at this stage, based on current figures, the Liberal Party will secure 58 seats in the House of Representatives, the National Party 16 and the ALP 71. The swing table around the seats, this is the ALP swing state by state. In New South Wales, the swing to the ALP 4.7%, a little disappointing for Labor there, as well as in Victoria, similar story there, only 3.4%. In Queensland, much stronger, 7.6%. South Australia, 4.5%. Western Australia, strengthening there as the vote comes in, 5.6%. And in Tasmania, 6.1%. Well, joining us now from the National Tally Room in Canberra is our chief political correspondent, Paul Bongiorno. Paul, it looks like the coalition may sneak over the line.
That's true, Sandra. In many ways, we're seeing 1990 in reverse here. We're seeing the incumbent government managing to hold on to its marginal seats by its fingernails, and I wouldn't be surprised at the end of this election if Labor, in fact, wins more votes but fails to win more seats. Let's have a look at some of the seats now. You've already mentioned Dixon in Queensland. This is the seat that Cheryl Kernot is standing for, and on these figures she can't quite make it, although the Labor people in Queensland tell me that they'll be depending on about 5,000 pre-poll votes, hoping that Cheryl Kernot will pick enough votes there and even preferences to push her across the line. The next seat we want to have a look at is the seat of Low. This was held by Mr Zammit, who was a Liberal. He became an independent, and now he's lost the seat to Labor. So there is a Labor gain in Low in Sydney. And finally, Brand, Kim Beazley's seat. Kim Beazley at least won't have to wait 13 days this time as he did last time. Mr Beazley has had a 6% swing to him and looks comfortable in Brand. So there's just 3 seats with a snapshot of what's going on in this election.
All right, thank you, Paul, and we'll cross back to you later for, of course, many more of the most controversial seats in this election. Pauline Hanson is facing her first test as the leader of One Nation. She is contesting, of course, the new seat of Blair because a redistribution has made her 1996 seat of Oxley unwinnable. Joining us shortly from the seat of Blair will be John Bennett. John, if you are there, can you describe the mood for us, please?
I'm here at the Ipswich Showgrounds with Pauline Hanson. Miss Hanson, Blair has been one of the most closely watched seats in this election. It now doesn't seem that there's much hope that you can win it.
Well, there's about 80% of the votes actually counted, so I haven't conceded defeat yet. I think it's still too close to call.
If you don't win, what will you put the loss down to?
Well, I don't know. It's choice of the people. That's what democracy is all about.
Only 4 months ago, One Nation was able to win 25% of the vote in Queensland and put 11 members into Parliament. You haven't been able to repeat that nationally. Why not?
Well, on a two-party preferred basis, in my seat alone, I think at the moment I'm polling about 46-47% of the vote. So that's a lot higher than what we've had.
This afternoon you were saying One Nation could win up to 15 seats in the House of Reps, 6 in the Senate. How's it looking now? Are you disappointed?
No, very, very disappointed. Yes, I am with that. I thought we would have done a lot better, but in some seats we're actually polling a lot better than what the national poll was prior to the election. They thought we'd done all about 7 or 8%, but we're actually getting some seats 20%. So, you know, some seats are doing very well. Can
you win a seat, though?
I haven't had a good chance to have a look at all the seats. They're only just coming in Western Australia, so I haven't had a chance to have a look at those.
What happens to the party if One Nation doesn't win a seat?
Oh, look, the party will still go on. We still have 11 members in Queensland, state elections, and I believe we will continue to go on. It's like there was just the coalition, Labor, and it was two-party system in this country, and I believe there is room for a three-party.
Thanks, Ms Hanson.
Thank you.
Back to you on the studio.
Thanks, John. Well, that's Pauline Hanson's view. On the tally room floor, however, One Nation National Director David Ettridge was asked earlier this evening if he was happy with the party's performance.
Everything we get is a win. I mean, we're starting with zero. So if we get 10, 20% of the vote or whatever, if we get 2 or 3 seats, we are making an impression on Australian politics. That's what we set out to do.
David Ettridge there. Well, now let's rejoin Paul Bongiorno in the tally room. Paul, take us through a few more of those marginal seats.
Yes, well, let's head out west, Sandra, because the Labor Party has done quite well in Western Australia. Ironically, so too has the Liberal Party, although we'll just have a quick look at the seat of Stirling. Ian Cameron is the sitting member there, and he is in some sort of trouble. McFarlane, the Labor member, is challenging, and when you see all the preferences, especially from the Democrats, the Greens, Western Australia, it's possible that Ian Cameron could lose the seat of Stirling. If we go to South Australia, the seat of Kingston, this is one Labor wanted to pick up, and David Cox from the Labor Party has picked it up. Just mind you, he's won the seat from Sue Jeans, the Liberal Party member. And then the seat of Braddon, Labor has done very well in Tasmania, picking up the seat of Braddon from Chris Miles, the Liberal member. Mr Sidebottom now will become the new Labor member. And also in Tasmania, the seat of Bass is in some sort of doubt for Warwick Smith. So there's another 3 seats to give us something to go on with, Sandra.
Yes, thank you, Paul. Well, many commentators predicted a big Labor swing in Victoria, but it didn't eventuate. Joining us now from the seat of Latrobe is Loreen Deal. And Loreen, still very close?
It is certainly very close, Sandra. The seat of Latrobe has been held by Bob Charles, the Liberals' Bob Charles, by a margin of just 1.4%. It's the most marginal metropolitan seat in Victoria, and it was one of the seats expected to fall if Labor was to win government. Now, both Bob Charles and Labor's candidate Carolyn Hirsch are saying it's too close to call at this stage. Neither are prepared to concede defeat or claim victory. 85% of the vote has been counted. The Liberals' Bob Charles is in a slightly better position at this stage. Joining me is Labor's Carolyn Hirsch. Carolyn, it is very close. Had you expected it to come down to the wire?
Well, I thought it might. It's a very hard seat to win, Latrobe, very hard. It changes hands with government as a rule, and so we'll see what happens this time. At the moment, though, I wouldn't be prepared to say we've won. Slightly favours the incumbent at the moment, but there are 10,000, at least 10,000 postal votes, absent votes and pre-poll votes to count, and so you can't possibly tell what's going to happen yet.
So you're still holding on to some hope that...
Holding on a little bit. We are 0.4% behind. We're on 49.6 with 10,000 votes to be counted at least, so let's wait and see.
All right, as Carolyn said, it could be at least a week before the seat of Latrobe is decided on those 10,000 postal and absentee votes. And I suppose the other question to be asked is the Kennett factor in Victoria, and is that the reason why the Liberals seem to be holding their own in the marginal seats?
Thanks, Loreen. Yes, of course, the ALP somewhat disappointed with their voting there in Victoria. They were expecting a much stronger support. Well, Prime Minister John Howard is watching the election unfold in private. Joining us now from Sydney's Wentworth Hotel is Network 10 political reporter Stephanie Kennedy. Stephanie, any indication yet that the Prime Minister will soon arrive?
Well, not yet, Sandra. He is expected at the Wentworth Hotel to address Liberal Party supporters and the media very soon. He's been at Kirribilli House with his wife and family, watching events unfold. So we expect him here within the next half hour.
Tell us what the mood is like there, Stephanie. I know at the 96 election there was essentially euphoria, but somewhat different this time.
It is very much so indeed, Sandra. In fact, I'd say there'd be about half the amount of people that were here 2.5 years ago. But nonetheless, they're still very excited. And in fact, one staunch Liberal Party supporter said to me earlier this evening that she didn't care how narrow the win was. She just wanted John Howard to win. So despite the fact that they've lost a lot of seats, they're still jubilant in victory.
Thank you, Stephanie. Yes, some extraordinary results today and the night still unfolding. I'm sure we'll be crossing back to you shortly. You are watching 10's Election Special. We'll cross back to the National Tally Room and talk with the key players right after the break.